In this video, we're going to review the Space Marine Judiciar. We'll have a look at his stat line, special abilities, movement, shooting and combat, discuss the pros and cons and give him a rating out of 5. The Judiciar is 85 points or 4 power levels, so he's a pretty cheap character. He's got movement 6, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 3+, strength toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9 and a 3+ save. He's got the usual Angels of Death ability and 2 unique ones. The part of the Angels of Death ability that is applicable is Shock Assault, which gives him +1 to attack in any phase in which he makes a charged move, was charged or performed a heroic intervention. The first of his unique abilities is Blade Parry, which gives him a 4+ invulnerable save against melee attack. It's a shame that he doesn't have a universal 4+ invuln, but it's better than nothing and he'll mostly need it for combat anyway. You're probably going to have another unit protect him from shooting, so it's not that big a deal. He's meant to be thrown forward into combat, so this invuln is fine. The second unique ability is Tempo Mortis, which allows you to select an enemy unit within 6 inches and force them to fight last in the fight phase. So this one is a pretty good ability, allowing you to target a unit and get the upper hand. Be aware, however, that this rule does appear in other armies, so if you come against a unit that has a similar ability, then it will just revert back to the usual terms for combat. It's still pretty good, but I wouldn't count on it working all the time. The Judiciar has an average movement, and as he's a close combat guy, you probably want to transport him to avoid foot slogging across the table. Although he would be fine in a close combat squad for support, he may be better used as a deterrent or counter-attacking unit behind a shooty squad, making the most of his Tempo Mortis ability. You could try him alongside a unit of Eradicators, say, coming in from strategic reserves. That should give them a bit of close combat support and might help to deter a close combat unit from charging them. As they add up to 9 power level, it will only cost you 1 command point to deploy this way. The Judiciar also has the choice of the Impulsor or Repulsor forward transport if you want to put him in with some troops. The Assault Intercessors might be worth a try if you're going down the tank route. So even though the Judiciar is more of a combat guy, his Absolver bolt pistol is pretty decent. It's range 18, which seems to be the Primaris pistol range, strength 5, AP -1 and 2 damage. You might take out an Intercessor with this, however he isn't hitting on 2s like a lot of other characters, so if you're shooting a toughness 4 squad, you'll be hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s. It's only AP -1, so if you're trying to take out, say, an Intercessor, they're going to get a 4+ save too. As pistols go, it's pretty good. You can use it if you're stuck in combat or while you're trying to make it there. It's an upgrade on the heavy bolt pistol, so it's not too bad. So in combat, the Judiciar carries the Executioner Relic Blade. It's pretty menacing sounding. It's a strength +3, so you'll most probably be fighting at strength 7, AP -3 and flat 2 damage. Additionally, each unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on top of the regular damage, so that's pretty good. He gets 4 attacks and 5 with Shock Assault, so not too bad considering you have the chance to deal those mortal wounds too. He's got weapon skill 2+, and you'll be wounding toughness 8 models on a 5+, toughness 7 models on a 4+, and toughness 4 and 5 and 6 models on a 3+. Assuming you have 5 attacks, you'll get approximately 4 hits and deal out approximately 1 to 2 wounds on a toughness 8 model, 2 wounds on a toughness 7 model, and approximately 2 to 3 wounds on a toughness 4 to 6 model. AP -3 is pretty good, especially when the Assault Doctrine kicks in, leaving most units without an invuln save quite vulnerable, and flat 2 damage is pretty decent too. The odds of getting that 6 for the mortal wound on 4 hits isn't that great. I think it's roughly 9 to 1, but if the dice gods are on your side, then it might be a nice little bonus, especially if you're up against a character. His Tempo Mortis ability should give you the upper hand if you get charged, and with his 4+ invuln save, you've got a chance of staying alive long enough to take out something worth more than 85 points, I reckon. So I've listed a few pros and cons for the Judiciar, so let's start with the pros. At 85 points, he's a pretty cheap unit to put in a list and throw forward. It's not going to hurt too much if you lose him. The Temper Mortis ability is a nice deterrent, making your opponent think harder about charging in when he's around. His Absolver Bolt Pistol is an upgrade on the Heavy Bolt Pistol and makes him a bit better if you get stuck in combat too. The Executioner Relic Blade deals out mortal wounds, which is a nice bonus, and I also like that it feels quite fluffy. It might come in handy if you're up against a character or anything with a decent invuln save. I think it's a fun rule more than anything, and will give some exciting rolls, I reckon. To go along with that, he has a decent 4+ invuln save, which will hopefully keep him alive long enough to do some damage. It'd be interesting to see how he does on one-on-one with different characters in the game. So now onto the cons. Unlike the regular captain or lieutenant, the Judiciar doesn't have the ability to buff nearby units, so I'm not sure if he's going to make it in more competitive lists. It would be nice to see him get an aura, maybe something like reroll ones in combat for friendly units within 6 or something to that effect perhaps. Maybe I'm being a bit greedy, but I feel that he could be a little bit better in combat, perhaps giving him maybe a flat 3 damage with his Executioner Relic Blade, or maybe a Strength +4 or -4 AP. I think it would better match the name of the weapon. At the moment, he can dent a tank or take out a couple of intercessors, but I think it could be slightly better. Unlike the regular chaplain, who also costs 85 points, the Judiciar doesn't come with litanies. And as he's supposed to be a trainee chaplain, it would be good to see him get something, maybe just one of them or something to that effect. His invuln save isn't valid against shooting attacks, so you'll have to make sure he doesn't get isolated. I think it's quite a fluffy rule, so I'm not that unhappy with this one. So unfortunately, I don't think the Judiciar's rules match his menacing look. If he gets into combat, I think he's pretty decent, but don't expect him to clear a whole squad or wreck a vehicle in one turn. I think the main reason to field him is for his Temper Mortis ability, but it's not going to be that useful if you've charged in, because you're going to be going first anyway. So it's only useful if you're stuck in combat or if you're being charged. I'd like to try him next to some shooting units, giving some protection as a counter to anyone who wants to charge. The model does look quite scary, so maybe that will be enough to deter some people if he's around one of those units. I do like the extra mortal wounds the Executioner Relic Blade can deal out, but more because it seems fluffy rather than it being super competitive. I'm a little disappointed that he isn't a little bit better, as I quite like the look of the model. However, as he's only 85 points, it wouldn't hurt to try him, especially in maybe a 2,000 point game. I think he'll be quite fun to play in a casual or narrative game. Overall, I think I'll give him a 3.5 stars. So please let me know in the comments what you think of the Judiciar. If you like the video, please click on the like button to help us promote the video. If you'd like to support the channel and see more 40k content from us, please consider subscribing and also press the bell notification to be updated whenever we post a video. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next one.